Traveling in your golden years shouldn't mean paying more for less comfort. Yet that's exactly what happens when you don't know the insider strategies that experienced travelers use every single day. Here's the reality. The travel industry banks on older travelers accepting whatever they're given: overpriced tickets, uncomfortable seating, unnecessary complications. But what if I told you there's an entirely different way to travel? Today, I'm sharing 6 insider strategies that retired travel professionals and hospitality veterans use themselves. These aren't your typical travel hacks. These are systematic approaches that can reduce your costs by more than half, protect your health abroad, and turn you into the kind of traveler who gets upgrades without even asking. And here's what makes this different. It's not just about booking tricks or packing lists. The real transformation happens when you shift how you approach travel itself. Stay until the end, because the 6th strategy reveals the single mindset change that separates stressed travelers from those who genuinely enjoy every moment of their journey. Before we get started, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're constantly uploading valuable travel insights specifically for our community. Let's get into it. Strategy 1. The 60-day medical framework. Most people treat pre-trip medical preparation as an afterthought. They grab their regular medications, maybe check if they need any shots, and call it done. But there's a far more sophisticated system that professional travelers use. It's called the 60-day medical framework, and it starts exactly 2 months before your departure date. Why 60 days? Because this is the optimal window where everything lines up perfectly. Here's how it works. Schedule a comprehensive travel consultation with your physician at the 60-day mark. During this appointment, you're not just refilling prescriptions, you're building what I call a travel medical portfolio. First, discuss any vaccinations or preventive medications you might need. Many vaccines require multiple doses over several weeks, and some take up to 6 weeks to reach full effectiveness. Starting at 60 days gives you this cushion without the stress. But here's where it gets interesting. Ask your doctor for something most travelers never know exists: a medical travel letter. This isn't just a list of your medications. It's a formal document written in internationally recognized medical terminology that explains your conditions, treatments, and medication requirements. Why does this matter? Because airport security, foreign customs officials, and international pharmacies all recognize this standardized language. It transforms you from suspicious person with lots of pills to legitimate medical patient instantly. Now let's talk about medication strategy. The biggest mistake travelers make is putting all their medications in one place. What happens if that bag gets lost, stolen, or delayed? Use what I call the triple backup system. Divide your medications into 3 separate locations: your carry-on personal item, your checked luggage, and a third emergency supply that you keep separate from everything else. And here's the crucial detail. Always pack at least 2 weeks extra beyond your return date. Why 2 weeks? Because that's the average maximum delay time during major travel disruptions. Weather events, strikes, unexpected closures. This buffer means you're never scrambling to find your specific medication in a foreign country. One more critical detail about travel insurance. Most policies have what's called a pre-existing condition exclusion. This can void your entire coverage if you have any ongoing health issues. The workaround is simple but essential. Have your doctor document in writing that your conditions have been stable and controlled for at least 90 days prior to purchasing your policy. This specific language changes how insurance companies classify your risk. Strategy 2. The advanced booking method. Everyone thinks they know when to book flights. Book on Tuesday. Book 3 months in advance. These old rules don't work anymore. The airlines have gotten sophisticated with their pricing algorithms. But there's still a window where you can beat the system. Travel industry analysts call it the optimal pricing window, and it's far more specific than you think. For domestic flights, the sweet spot is 50 to 60 days before departure. For international flights, it's 100 to 120 days out. Within these ranges, airlines are actively adjusting prices to fill projected empty seats. And that's when you can find the real deals. But here's a technique that takes it to the next level: split-city searching. Instead of searching for round-trip flights from your home airport, search for one-way flights separately, potentially using different airlines or even nearby airports for your return. Why? Because airlines price round trips differently than one-ways, and often you'll find that two separate one-way tickets cost significantly less than the round-trip fare. This strategy alone has saved our community members hundreds of dollars per trip. Now, here's an insider secret that almost nobody knows. Call the airline's international customer service number instead of the domestic one. International booking agents have access to unpublished fare codes and senior discounts that domestic agents literally cannot see in their system. The number is usually available on the airline's website under International Contacts. Let's talk about seat selection, because this is where comfort really happens. There's a specific zone on every aircraft that travel professionals call the comfort corridor. On single-aisle planes, that's rows 8 through 12. On larger wide-body aircraft, it's rows 18 through 28. Why these specific rows? They're positioned away from galley noise, bathroom congestion, and the turbulence amplification that happens in the tail section, while still being close enough to the front for priority service. Here's another detail flight attendants shared with me. Seats directly across from or one row behind the flight attendant, jump seats, get noticeably better attention. Flight crews naturally check on these passengers more frequently because they're in their line of sight. For older travelers who might need assistance, this subtle positioning makes a real difference. Strategy. 3. The airport navigation system. Airports can be overwhelming, especially large international hubs. But there's an entire infrastructure of services specifically designed for travelers over 60 that hardly anyone knows about. Let me show you how to navigate like an insider. First, forget the standard passenger drop-off areas. Every major airport has what's called Premium Access Drop-Off, designated zones originally created for first-class passengers. Here's the secret. These zones are available to anyone over 60. You just need to know to ask for them. When you're arranging transportation to the airport, specifically request the premium or executive drop-off location. Your driver will take you to a much less congested entrance, often with better parking, porter services, and direct access to shorter check-in lines. Now, here's a service that exists at every major airport but is deliberately under-promoted: Senior Transit Assistance. This is different from wheelchair service and doesn't require any mobility limitations. When you book your flight online or by phone, look for the Special Assistance section and request Senior Transit Assistance or Passenger Escort Service. An airport employee will meet you at your designated location and personally guide you through check-in, security, and all the way to your departure gate. It's completely free at most airports, but almost nobody requests it. If you fly even a few times per year, TSA PreCheck is worth every penny. But here's what most people don't know. When you apply for PreCheck, you can simultaneously request Enhanced Senior Verification. This adds an additional flag to your traveler profile that often results in expedited screening even in regular security lines at airports that don't have dedicated PreCheck lanes. Let's talk about airport lounges. You probably think they're only for business class passengers or expensive memberships. Not true. Many credit cards, even those without annual fees, include complimentary lounge access as a benefit. Check the cards you already have. Look specifically for terms like Priority Pass, Lounge Key, or Plaza Premium. If you have this benefit and didn't know it, you've been missing out on comfortable seating complimentary food and drinks, clean private restrooms, and a peaceful environment away from the gate chaos. Strategy 4. The Energy Preservation Protocol. Travel fatigue isn't just feeling tired. It's a combination of dehydration, circulation issues, disrupted sleep, and environmental stress that hits older travelers particularly hard. But there's a systematic approach to preventing it that makes an enormous difference. Let me introduce you to what flight crews call the hydration protocol. It starts 24 hours before your flight. Drink water consistently, about 4 ounces every 2 hours throughout the day before travel. This specific amount and timing hydrates your body without causing constant bathroom trips. Equally important, cut out alcohol and caffeine starting 12 hours before your flight. Both are diuretics that rapidly dehydrate you, and airplane cabin pressure amplifies this effect dramatically. During the flight itself, here's something almost nobody does correctly: posture management. Flight attendants are trained in something called optimal circulation positioning. Adjust your seat so your knees, hips, and elbows all form roughly 90-degree angles. This specific configuration maximizes blood flow and minimizes the stiffness and swelling that typically develops during long periods of sitting. Every 45 minutes, do gentle ankle rotations and shoulder rolls without even leaving your seat. You've probably heard about compression socks for flights. They work. But here's what most travelers miss. Arm circulation is equally important. Compression sleeves for your arms can dramatically reduce fatigue and swelling, especially on flights longer than 4 hours. Look for medical-grade sleeves with 15 to 20 mmHg compression. Now, about sleeping on planes. Most people try to sleep for as long as possible, then wake up feeling worse than before. There's a better method. The dual-cycle rest technique used by international flight crews. Instead of one long nap, take 2 separate 30-minute rest periods with at least an hour of wakefulness in between. This works with your body's natural sleep cycles and leaves you feeling more refreshed than a single longer sleep period, which often puts you into deep sleep that's difficult to wake from. Strategy 5. The Digital Security Framework. When most people think about travel safety, they think about physical security, not losing your wallet, watching your bags. But in today's world, digital security is equally critical, and most travelers are completely unprepared. Let me show you how to build what security professionals call a digital travel vault. Start by creating a secure, encrypted folder on your phone or computer. Don't just throw in scanned copies of your passport and credit cards. Include what I call emergency authorization documents. Pre-written letters that specifically request embassy assistance, insurance authorization, or medical evacuation using the exact legal terminology that triggers immediate action from these organizations. Here's a strategy that most cybersecurity experts recommend, but travelers rarely use. Create a separate email address used exclusively for travel. Use it only for booking flights, hotels, rental cars, anything related to trips. This quarantines all your travel information from your primary email, making it both easier to organize and much safer if there's ever a security breach. For your phone, never rely solely on your regular cellular service when traveling internationally. Use what's called a dual access strategy. Get an international eSIM for data connectivity, but also install an offline authentication app like Authy. This ensures you can access your critical accounts even without reliable cell service. Both iPhone and Android have built-in medical ID features that emergency responders worldwide are trained to check, even on locked phones. Configure this properly, with your conditions, medications, emergency contacts, and blood type. In a medical emergency abroad, this information could be life-saving when you are unable to communicate. Strategy 6. The Financial Protection System. The banking industry makes massive profits from travelers who don't understand these simple financial strategies. Let me show you how to protect yourself. Never put all your financial resources in one place. Use what financial advisors call the distributed access method. Split your travel funds this way: 40% on your primary credit card, 30% on a backup card from a completely different bank, 20% in local currency cash, and 10% on a specialized travel card like Wise or Revolut. Here's something that costs travelers millions every year: foreign transaction fees. Almost every credit card charges 2 to 3% on purchases made abroad, even when the charge is converted to your home currency. The solution: always choose to pay in the local currency when given the option at the payment terminal. This one choice typically saves 3 to 5% on every single purchase. When you notify your bank about travel, don't just give them your dates. Request what's called graduated authorization limits. Pre-approved spending increases that automatically activate based on your location. This prevents your legitimate purchases from being declined while still maintaining fraud protection. For ATM withdrawals, stop making multiple small transactions. Each withdrawal often includes a flat fee of $3.70, which quickly adds up. Instead, use the staged withdrawal method. Calculate your expected cash needs and withdraw in just 2 or 3 larger transactions throughout your trip. The mindset shift: we've covered tactical strategies, insider secrets, and systems that can save you thousands. But there's one final element that separates travelers who merely survive their trips from those who genuinely thrive. It's what I call the adventure mindset, and it's more powerful than any hack or trick. Most people approach travel with a problem avoidance mindset. They're constantly trying to prevent issues, control outcomes, and stick to the plan. But what happens when flights get delayed? When reservations fall through? When things don't go as expected? The travelers who have the best experiences see every situation as an opportunity. A cancelled flight becomes a chance to explore a new city. A closed restaurant leads to discovering a hidden gem. A wrong turn creates an unexpected adventure. This isn't about forced positivity or pretending problems don't exist. It's about choosing curiosity over frustration. It's about staying present instead of panicking about what should have happened. One member of our community, a 76-year-old woman who's traveled to 42 countries, put it perfectly. I stopped taking trips and started having experiences. The experiences I planned are wonderful, but the experiences I never planned, those are often the ones I remember most. So there you have it. 6 comprehensive strategies that can completely transform how you travel. Which one are you going to implement first? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one. If you found this valuable, clicking that like button helps more travelers discover these insights. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because we're releasing new travel strategies every single week. Thanks for watching, and here's to your next adventure, wherever it takes you.